I'm kind of excited about the new characters. I've been playing Jamie a lot, but I've saw like the footage of JP and a zoner that is not like your traditional zoner there. He puts like things on screen, although has like stuff like a somewhat traditional fireball, but that can also be a command grab. And I try to wrap my mind around what that's going to look like in this emerging meta, which is already so layered. Even just with the traditional, like, your standard Street Fighter 101 Ryu and Chun-Li, the possibilities are endless, and the theory fighting is endless. But now we're going to start wrapping in characters like JP, like Manon with her command grab leveling up, and we haven't even really seen a proper grappler in this climate yet. So it's like, what's that going to look like? What's the theory fighting going to be like for that? To me, it's simultaneously exciting and a bit overwhelming, but not so much so that I'm going to, shy away from the game. But you say just going into the training mode and looking at all the options, that does feel overwhelming. And I would say to both things, whether it's how to theory fight or how to go into training mode, I think the best way to approach this game is to come up with an objective that you want. You're going into training mode, I want to learn what my character is in this situation in terms of the frame data. Just the tools are there for that, and the tools are probably there for anything you want to know. And then when it comes to characters, like, I want to play a character this way, well, it probably has a character for you. So approach it that way, as opposed to I have to understand everything and learn everything. And I'm saying that to myself as much as the next guy or girl. And that's how to do it. But this game can feel overwhelming because of the extensiveness of it. But I think that's a good thing overall.
Yeah, really well said. We cover this stuff for a living, and we invest tons and tons and tons of time into this, and we get overwhelmed by the options. So if we're overwhelmed by it, your average player, it's totally fine to feel overwhelmed. Just find whatever's fun and go that way. But Steven, you were saying.
Yeah, I actually just wanted to jump in and add to what John was saying there is if you also are struggling and just feel like you don't know where to start at all, we have several resources on EventHubs that can help you get started there with our 6's 101 guide and our starter guide for Street Fighter 6, and we've written several different articles there that you can look into there that break stuff down in a way that's easy to kind of isolate and kind of get started there. So if you guys need any resources like that, be sure to head to the website.
Sounds like we should link those up in the description below.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. But yeah, kind of talking about what Velociraptor was saying there, the new characters. That was also one of the big things I kind of felt after the beta ended here this past weekend was, man, I just want to play Lily. I can't wait to play that character. Like, I'm so excited to have T-Hawk's moveset back, and just like, especially with this game and in this, with the drive system and all these different things, like, I'm just so excited for that. That was like something that was in the back of my head the whole time during the open beta, where I'm like, I'm having a lot of fun with this, but man, I just want my character now. Like, I'm ready for it. Like, I think I understand this game enough now. Like, give me my character, because I'm ready to go in and crush some skulls with some SPDs there.
Have you guys seen a Street Fighter where the starting roster newcomers are as well received and as excitement driving as Street Fighter 6's are?
No, first time.
I think that, because new characters can very, very easily be flops, and a big part of it is once you actually get to play them, and we haven't seen all the new characters in our hands yet, but the excitement for this, I don't see anyone going like, oh, that's a total flop. I mean, there's some people, of course, are. You could find those comments online, I'm sure. But generally speaking, there's excitement across the board for all of these characters, and especially the new ones. I want to see what it's like to play JP. I want to see what it's like to play Lily. I've really been enjoying Jamie. And they're not brand new in the sense that we've never seen characters like them before, but they seem to be both in their designs and how they might contribute to the story, as well as the modernization of whatever style they are all super intriguing. Manon's different, the kind of level up system with her command grabs that never go away. JP's traps and the fact that he can also teleport to them in full screen command grab. Marissa and her armor and what's that going to look like as she tries to march forward all the time on you. All of this stuff just absolutely drives theory fighting.
Yeah, I actually did think of one exception, and that's the alpha games, where the newcomers were extremely well thought of. But if you're saying a best in class in terms of newcomers and comparing that to 6, that is such a really good barometer to be measured against. Where you're talking about something like 4R3, where the newcomers were not well thought of in that game for the most part, and generally derided. But they come to love them over the years. It seems like people are very excited about 6, so that is quite the accomplishment for Capcom to pull off.
Yeah, and I think that's also a contributing factor as well. I think just kind of the way that Capcom has done a little bit of a 180 here from Street Fighter V and kind of specifically focused on righting some of the wrongs that they made with the game's launch and just some of the choices they made there. I think that there's a lot of good vibes from the community with Street Fighter 6 already, and I think that's also contributing to the acceptance and also the liking of the new characters, because it feels like really refreshing now, and it feels like people are in good spirits, and now we're kind of accepting and liking these new characters more as a result as well. But not to say that the character designs aren't great. I think that they've been doing a really good job, but just kind of the ideas behind them, and just it's tricky for these developers to usher in a new generation of characters, because typically people want the classics, they want the veterans, and when new characters, like when you try to do a very specific, like, oh, this, the characters you know and love are now the old generation and we're gonna make the priority the new kids, right? Like there's usually a bit of a groan, like, okay, like I want Ryu, man, I don't want Luke, right? But I feel like Capcom really handled this well and did it elegantly, and we've got characters that people genuinely love already, and even though we haven't had time to play them at all, I mean, like character like Marissa, I keep seeing that name come up everywhere. Even the developers are playing Marissa. It's like, and people really like these characters. They've got a lot of personality and stuff.
I want to lose to her, so she carries me away.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like there's so many cool little things like that too. So it's just, it feels like it's a really good time to be a Street Fighter fan.
Okay, let's get into final thoughts here. I think there's so many good vibes we're feeling from the community. A lot of good stuff on the way, but one of the things we haven't quite hit yet is the grappler army actually arriving. And grapplers tend to be very polarizing in a lot of respects, and they also tend to be very well thought of as dominating. And one of the things I want to note here is that command grabs and level 3s seem to universally cause hard knockdowns. Also, characters like Zangief, Lily, a few others, they have command grabs that do, I think, about 33% damage in some situations. And it's like, okay, so the character gets in one time, they've got a parry, they've got all these tools, they've got drive impact, Zangief has got drive rush, he's drive rushing from all over the place, like, and then his reward is to churn the butter, spin the joystick, and get 33% damage on you. That's one thing I'm really closely monitoring here for launch, and a little bit worried about, but not too worried about, because I play Guile and I'm a big jerk for playing them, and so I've got more zoning options than most other people. But at the same time, that's something that's kind of jumping out to me. John, I saw you kind of rolling your eyes there. How are you thinking about these grapplers when the game launches?
Seemingly everything that I've been worried about, or that has been a problem in Street Fighter before, has been thought of and directly attended to at some pretty nuanced levels by the developers thus far. That said, yeah, I'm a little scared of the potential of grapplers as I know them. But the way I've seen, just even the way that they're balancing something like parries and fireballs, and you go like, how are you going to make those two things really work together? And the amount of times that I've been like, well, okay, so this is a thing that's either really sucks, or that I'm going to just win every single game with. As soon as that thought finishes processing in your mind, something has presented itself as an answer to it in one direction or another. So given that, I am hopeful that Capcom is smarter than me and has figured out a way to make these grapplers in this kind of a meta relevant, but not ridiculously overpowered. And they've always been that kind of class or that genre of fighter that has been difficult to get to play well or nicely with others. But I gotta believe that they're doing it, because they're doing it on like every other level with this. So I'm holding out judgment. I am a little bit nervous about it, but I think it'll go well, please, I hope. If you'd like to hear the rest of that interesting discussion about grapplers in Street Fighter 6, you can check out the entire Talk and Block episode right here. But if you're not that committed and you're more of a zoning type player, I understand. We've got another clip that you can check out right here about why the game is so darn fun.